So, how you doing? It's Jared, Lugermonger. It's a Q&A video. First off, I'm gonna apologize. I'm probably gonna be butchering a lot of people's names in this, so just forgive me for that one. First one off the bat is what made me think of that. Azaria Murray asks, what kind of knife would you suggest for someone on a small budget? I'm actually going to do a video about that because I've got a couple concepts, thoughts that take longer to get out than I really want to. David asks, most expensive knife. I'm going to have to say it's probably right now the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21. Paid a little bit over $400 for it. Badass knife, worth every penny, but that's probably it right now. OTF or Butterfly from Kyle, your boy. Butterfly knife, all the way. Butterfly knife Bally Song is as much of a sporting implement as it is a knife or a tool. A Bally Song is just a cool knife. Dan Hazard, have you ever been spoiled by the latest and greatest knife steel? Talk about super steels and things. And honestly, this is a Spyderco Manix 2 in Maximet, which is really a crazy steel. And honestly, I do prefer softer steels. 154 is still my favorite steel. But the reason I do really like the super steels, but it's more from a chemistry standpoint. It's more like the metallurgy chemistry standpoint of it, that it's actually really interesting to me. And just being able to have it and see what it's actually capable of doing is nice, but I would never choose one of these if I only had, I'd never choose a super steel if I actually only had one EDC knife. It would not be that high in any sort of carbide or carbon. Let's play this. What is the sharpest knife you have? And, well, that one, honestly, sharpness is relevant to the latest knife that I just sharpened and how much time and work I put into it. So I'm going to answer that one a little bit differently. Watch my next video on that one because I can't actually answer that. And my next knife review is going to be about that, my sharpest knife. What is your most illegal knife? That's an awesome question. Microtech, Ultratech. Double-edged Microtech, Ultratech. Illegal on 3 different points. Steve Wellborn, what knife of yours is most high-end and valuable? What knife do you value the most in your collection? Hell yeah, then thanks, man. I've got a few sentimental knives just because they were gifts. This Bear Ops, it's a Bear Ops B200. A buddy of mine at the store actually gave that one to me as a gift. I have an affinity for this one. I've actually put a lot of work into it. I'll stand up in a minute. I put a lot of work into it to keep it up and running, so but honestly, probably still, as far as money, the Chris Reeve Sebenza 21 is going to be the most expensive. No, well, I've got a few collector knives. That honestly may catch more in auction. But I don't know. Dragonfire, how often do you flip a Bally Song? How old are you? I'm 29, and can I have a hug? Hell yeah, if I ever meet you in person, I'll give you a hug. Why not? And how often? I don't flip a Bally Song nearly as often as I would like. There's a reason that I don't make flipping videos. Alright? I will sit there and do this for an hour a night and love the shit out of it, but I don't do in-depth reviews on Bally Songs. I don't do flipping videos. I'll give you my personal philosophy and tell you why I enjoy it. You know what I mean? But as far as actual flipping goes, the one I'm trying to master right now is a fan rollover. See, it's still sloppy. And I got a Band-Aid on, but I'll do more of that later. You can laugh at me some more. I love Bally Songs, but I'm nowhere near as good as half of the people online. It's ridiculous. Some people can do with those knives. It's freaking amazing. It's just mind-blowing. That's one of the things that I like so much about him, is because it's so hard and I do it and I realize how bad I am at it, but at the same time I can watch these people online that are freaking amazing. You know what I mean? Like Christopher Douglas, you know what I mean? He's got a channel on YouTube. Check him out. And that kid's amazing what he can do. Like, that shit's just fun to watch. What was your first knife? From Mono Num Bum asks, what is my first knife? I have no idea what my first knife is. I've had a knife on me. I got kicked out of grade school a couple, well, not kicked out, but suspended a couple times in like 6th grade for having a knife on me. I remember that. I don't know what it was. I don't know where I got it. This was not approved by my mom. She was not alright with that. But so I can't actually tell you what my first knife was. Cooper Gatlin, what is your all-time favorite knife? Benchmade 162 Bushcrafter. Benchmade 162 Bushcrafter. I freaking love this knife. I own 3 of them, and I love that knife. Yep. What got you to be at the knife enthusiasm you are at today? I did not know what to put as my name, asks. And honestly, with that one, I really don't know. I will attribute Such on YouTube for first getting me really heavily into knives, because I had this little Boker Magnum right here, right? And I still have it because it's just that, again, that sentimental value. And I busted the tip off of it, right? And I actually reground it. It's got like a chisel tip. It is sharp up front, and I was, just a little Boker Magnum piece of junk. And I watched one of his videos, and he was talking about how you need a really good knife, right? This was back in the day. I thought of myself as something of an amateur prepper, which is just, I don't do anymore. But he mentioned how you need a really good knife, right? And that really stuck in my head, because I just broke the one that I had. I'd broken every single one. Every time I broke a knife, I would just get a new one. I very rarely lost them. I just broke them, and then I got a new one. And I thought about it, I'm going to go buy the most expensive knife that I can find. And it's exactly what I did. I went out and bought the Benchmade 531 Pardue. It was the most expensive knife they had at the store at the time, and for some reason, that's just what I did. I was like, oh, I want that, and I went out and bought it. I realized that I really like it. It's got some features that I really liked, and so I got on YouTube, looked up knives, realized there's an entire world of knives out there, and that's actually what started the whole knife thing. So really, it's YouTube that started my knifedom right now, is just realizing, because I didn't know they were out there. I didn't realize the world was there. I didn't see it, So when I did for the first time, it kind of ran over me like a truck. James Zamboto, why did you buy 351s? I didn't buy 351s. I bought 251s because I needed a 51, and this is a Blade HQ exclusive, and it's freaking awesome. And that's a 32. So I don't actually have 251s. And I needed the 32 because I wanted to experience it, know what it, how it would flip, and needed it for my collection. Nazi16, what else do you do other than YouTube? Basically nothing. Skate through the city a lot. I like to skate in downtown San Francisco. Piss off the cars, run in front of the cars. Other than that, really nothing. I carve wood a lot, which is still in the realm of knives. So a lot of different knife activities is what I do other than YouTube and skate. Gray Jacobs, what is your favorite knife that has a wave feature? Emerson CQC13. Hands down. That's one of my favorite knives. That's probably in my top 10, is in my top 10 favorite knives, and it's got a wave, so regardless. Rich Cocoon, Do you ever trade, or have, if so, has anything gone horribly wrong? I don't trade knives. I very rarely sell them, and I've never actually had a bad experience with that. Bluefire31, what is your smoothest opening knife you ever owned? Because I want a really smooth knife. Benchmade 484 Nakamura. This is as well the freest flowing knife. There's no, it doesn't feel like I'm moving anything. It feels like once you get past the axis lock, once you actually get past that axis lock, in this section here, it doesn't feel like there's anything there. This knife has actually got a strange sensation to it because it is so smooth, and the Sebenza has resistance. People attribute the Sebenza as having a hydraulic feeling because it has that resistance with being so smooth. That knife has absolutely no resistance, and it's just as smooth, if not smoother, than the Sebenza. So it's just a very interesting feeling knife. And as well, that's a super steel. It's an M390 from Benchmade. That's a 484 Nakamura. It's definitely a cool knife. Anders Jackson, do you know any good websites to purchase knives other than Amazon? Check out Blade HQ, Knife HQ, Blade Ops, GP Knives. Get on YouTube and search just knife companies. A lot of I just have a lot of trust in the companies that are willing to put out YouTube videos. You know what I mean? If they're putting themselves that much into the public eye, they have confidence in themselves. And that's a real, that's a plus for me. Have you ever flipped any ballet songs by Jerry Holmes? And how good are you at flipping? No, I've never actually flipped a Jerry Holmes ballet song. I would definitely like to, and again, I am not good at flipping at all. Woo! I'm going to grant you guys, I can tell you this, but you're probably not going to believe it. I'm better than this when I'm not standing here on video. Being on film definitely makes this shit harder. But I'm never going to tell you that I'm good. I'll never try to give you the impression that I'm actually good. There's a reason I don't do in-depth ballet song reviews. Okay. Maxi Waxy. Hell, yeah, that's a good one. What do you think about Makarov knives? Have you any good starter auto knives? Boker makes a lot of really good starter auto knives. Kershaw makes a really lot of good starter knives. I'm not familiar with the brand that you mentioned there. Auto knives, there's again, get on a website, set your price filter, and just go to town. Get on a reputable website, set your price filter, and you can have fun there for days. WL Blocks. What do you prefer, Paragon Warlock or Paragon Phoenix? Damn. That's a hard one. I'll come back to that. What is your dream knife or bladed weapon? I have no idea. Something with meteorite in it. I want Damascus meteorite. I love that. John Fitzen has done some shit in it. There's a few other makers that have done some meteorite, and I would love that. Jordan Dixon. Do you collect anything other than knives? No, I do not. When I was 18, this is kind of a stupid. When I was 18, I got raided by the police. And, well, not necessarily raided, but they came over because there was a bunch of people in my house smoking weed. This was in Utah. They took 78 pieces of paraphernalia out of the house, but I was so cooperative, they actually only charged me with 1 count of paraphernalia possession, but they confiscated 78 pieces of paraphernalia. So realistically, I've always been a collector. I'm not nearly as enthusiastic about weed anymore. That's back in the day, but I really have always been a collector. It's just changed, my focus has moved on. What are the chances of you actually answering this question in the Q&A? I would say pretty damn good, actually. How many knives do you own approximately? I can give you an exact number. Here's my knife ledger. And I do keep a knife ledger. 122. These aren't questions. Sorry. Do you prefer specific steel when looking at new knives? It depends on the knife, honestly. But no, not really. What is your favorite knife company? Benchmade. Hands down. Would you ever get into art knives? Yes, I would, but the art knives that I would prefer would be expensive as hell, and I can't afford that right now. If you could choose one knife to give to a child, which one would you feel satisfied having that in their hands, or which one would you want to pass down to your next generation? That is an excellent question, and it's less about the knife and more about the adult supervision and training that the kid has before ever handling the knife. If a kid knows how to actually handle a knife and they have proper supervision and close supervision, then there's nothing ever to go wrong. It's a very valuable skill and a very valuable trait that kids should know, especially just for safety reasons. Kids should know how to handle a knife. They should know which end is the sharp end. They shouldn't be doing it without a close supervision, but they should understand it. And that's just along the knives that what knife wouldn't you hand to somebody who doesn't know how to handle a knife? If somebody's scared of knives or isn't familiar with knives, I'm not going to hand them a balisong. I'm not going to hand them the Paragon Warlock. I'm not going to hand them a lot of different, just crazy knives that, may be complicated or have something that is more likely for them to hurt themselves. And it's just the same thing with children, just escalated a little bit. You got to be even more careful. I'm never going to give a kid an assisted knife even. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know. They do need, I do think that kids need to learn how to handle knives. I was taught how to handle a knife at a very young age, and nothing ever bad came of it because the observation that I received was strict as shit. I never cut myself. What's your opinion on different knife types, fixed blades versions, folding, semi-assisted, or to fully automatic? It depends on the knife. I have no preference on the actual mechanism. I like strong, crazy mechanisms and beautiful knives. I don't actually have a preference. Yeah, my collection is pretty varied because I like to experience everything across the board, so I really don't have an actual preference. What is your favorite flipper, and how much was it? What is your favorite flipper, and how much was it? That is the Benchmade 63, wherever I stuck it. I like this knife. It's heavy. It's got better momentum. Because I'm not very good, I don't think I'm at the skill level to need something like the Flytanium 51. So this thing, in the fact that it moves more and it actually carries that momentum better, makes it easier for me to do tricks. You know what I mean? I can actually do things easier because of that weight. So I like the 63. That's a Benchmade 63, and it was $319. If you would ever consider carrying a knife What's your ideal location for concealed carrying or position to do so? Concealed carrying a knife. What would be my preferred position? Kidney. Back behind the hips. I'm not that big of a dude, so I don't have a whole lot of places that I can actually hide a fixed blade, especially if it's a little bit longer in length. And right there along, my back to my thigh works really well, sticks in the fat of my ass, so when I sit down, so it's relatively comfortable. Definitely my back, when I don't even know what it's called up here, but when I carry it in the front, dick carry it stabs me in the crotch whenever I bend over, and that sucks. I don't like that. Do you ever have any big issues with a knife? Like losing one, hurting yourself badly? How much would you spend for a knife? How much would I spend for a knife? The most that I have available at that period in time without being ridiculously irresponsible. The biggest thing that I've ever actually had go wrong with the knife, breaking it. In my life, I've probably broken, up next to 50 knives, maybe, honestly, in estimation, something like that. I would guess less than 50, but over 30, somewhere in there. Overall, about how much would you estimate you have spent on all of your knives? That's a good question. Over $10,000, less than 15. Do you have any tips for a good EDC knife? A knife that you like and will actually carry. A knife that you like, carry, and will enjoy. There's no point in owning an EDC knife when it sits in your drawer. You know what I mean? You hear people say that a lot about a gun, and a gun is severely for the self-defense aspect of it, and realistically, knives just aren't. So, a knife is a tool, and the only tool that's good is the tool you have, so it's a knife that you like, you will appreciate, and will actually have on you is the best EDC knife you can get. Knife laws. Come on. Come back. Knife laws in Alameda County, California. Do you always open carry your fixed blades? Folders must be under 3 inches. Really? Yeah, folders must be under 3 inches. If they're concealed carried, you can open carry over 3 inches. Fixed blade must be openly carried at all points. And I'm not going to answer whether or not I abide by those regulations. How many Bally songs do you own? What are your Bally songs? What are they? I own 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 2 Benchmade 51s, a Benchmade 32, a Benchmade 63, a Bear Ops B200, my Frankensong, and actually this little Nathan Dewey custom Gremlin right here that I just pulled out of the box. This is why I'm wearing a Band-Aid right now. This little dude. How old are you? I'm 29 years old. What is your biggest knife-related injury? Nothing. Nothing really. I mean, nope. I've seen some horrific knife injuries. I've seen a couple buddies of mine have been pretty badly injured, but me myself, actually, nothing really. The worst thing that I've ever done with a knife, it's this finger right here. It's not even going to come across. I don't know if it'll come into focus. I'll show you on my next video here. I've got a slit in my hand that actually I dropped a butcher's block when I was like 12. I knocked it off of the counter and it came down and one of them hit my finger. I actually don't know what happened in that. I caught the butcher's block, I stuck it up on the thing, picking knives up off the ground and covering them in blood. I realized that there was blood all over the knives. Shit. These are old kitchen knives that my mom had back in the day. None of them are sharp. Yeah, I don't actually, the wood may have been what cut me. When was the first time you seriously cut yourself and had to make a trip to the ER? I just answered that question. Why did you start collecting knives? why, I kind of explained that earlier with the whole YouTube thing, but the honest reason why is I was collecting knives and buying knives and hoarding them before I realized the reasons that I actually like them as much as I do. It was a learning experience because there was something about them that attracted me to them to the point where I was hoarding as many of them as I could, but I didn't actually even understand why at that point, you know? And now it's the engineering, the chemistry behind the actual steel, the overall design aspects, the small little tiny things that lead up to be such a massive change in the long run. And you get something just as tiny as like just the positioning of the stop pin, or you know, it's something aesthetic like the way that the swedge is shaped, like a 1/16 of an inch of a difference in swedge cut can make a massive difference to the aesthetic of the blade, and what people choose to do and why is fascinating to me. I absolutely love it. What is your favorite knife company that has been around for more than 10 years? Benchmade. They're sitting at 30 years now, and for, I want to say, 13 years before that, they existed. They were Balisong before that, and then they were Pacific Coast Cutlery, so, yeah. If you were stuck on an island, and only had to pick one knife for your survival, what knife would it be? Benchmade 162 Bushcrafter. Once again, it's small enough that you can basically do anything that you need to do with a smaller knife, and it's big enough and sturdy enough. The S30V from Benchmade, I definitely have a lot of trust in. But honestly, that's just the knife I would pick because it's my favorite knife. I have a lot of confidence in a lot of these knives. I would take the 119 Arvenzas from Benchmade. I wouldn't feel unopposed to a Cold Steel Trailmaster or a Recon Scout for that matter. I wouldn't be opposed to an SRK. I would not honestly be picky as long as it was quality and something that would actually get the tasks done that I would need to get done. I really wouldn't actually honestly be too picky on what it was. I keep leaving my emails. Brick Blocks. Do you practice marksmanship? Yeah. As in, do you shoot guns? If so, yes, what firearms do you own? I freaking love guns. I don't shoot as much as I wish that I did. I used to go to the range a couple times a week, every weekend at least. I haven't been in probably a couple months now. I've got an AR-15 build I did, Mossberg 500 that I've tricked out a little bit, and Winchester model 25. It's from 1957. Awesome gun, long barrel bird gun, and a Beretta 92 FS Inox. Currently, I've had a bunch of guns. I'll do a video on my guns, what I've owned in the past. What is the sharpest blade you own? Again, watch my next video. Which knife has the largest blade out of the ones you own? The largest blade? That's probably, Cold Steel Trailmaster in 01. This thing is 9.5 inch blade length, almost third of an inch thick, ridiculously huge blade. That's my hacker. If I need to go out and actually beat stuff up for work, I'm gonna take the Benchmade 154 Jungle clip point. If I'm doing it for fun and I'm just going out to hack a Christmas tree down, which I've done every year for the last couple years, it's the Cold Steel Trailmaster. What is your first knife? Also, do you think butterfly knives should be illegal everywhere? No, butterfly knives should not be illegal because the reasonings that they were are not legitimate in the first place. An intimidation factor. Knives are intimidating. Somebody brandishing a knife at you is intimidating. Them flipping it around through the air, I don't honestly see how that's more intimidating than somebody brandishing a knife at you that's intent on doing you bodily harm. So no, I really honestly don't think they should be illegal everywhere. It's kind of ridiculous. What is your favorite knife? Again, Benchmade 162 Bushcrafter. How do your friends and family feel about your knife hobby? They're coming around. They're coming around. And everybody thinks it's weird at first, but most of the people who know me really well, I'm a really gentle guy. All of my hobbies have to do with they're all weapon oriented. I like swords and I like guns and knives and martial arts, and I'm into all of that. But realistically, when it comes down to it, I'm a relatively gentle guy. I do blow my fuse every once in a while, and everybody gets into some shit every once in a while, but it's rare. I haven't been in a fight in like 4 years, so people don't trip on it too much that actually know me. Yeah, expensive knife I own. Have you ever had to use a knife in a fight before? No. Besides a knife, what would your favorite self-defense weapon be? Okay, he says. Yeah, I haven't been reading names. Yeah, besides a knife, what would your favorite self-defense weapon be? In no means, way, shape, or form is a knife my favorite self-defense weapon. My favorite self-defense weapon would be a .357 revolver, which I don't actually own. It's kind of horrible to say, but I like the ballistics behind that. I think it's a great round. And a pistol is the best self-defense. Well, whatever. But a knife requires you to know what you're doing. It is time-consuming and intensive in actually learning how to use it, and it's extraordinarily violent to actually use. The logistics behind actually using and taking down an opponent with a knife is more graphic and more violent than a gun could ever really be. The effect on the opponent is the same, but the overall task at hand is not. So yeah, a knife is not my favorite self-defense item. What do you say if someone asks you, why do you like knives? People often ask me why I carry a knife. Sometimes they say they are bad. Those people are ignorant because they have 3 knives in their kitchen. And I don't listen to people, really. If somebody's going to judge me, if I say I collect knives, if they see my knife collection and they judge me upon that, then that's realistically just a note towards them in personality. It's a display of their personality. So I wouldn't want to associate with that person to begin with. So it's just a little key in that I'm really not going to like that person. What do you think about other countries' knife laws like the UK? I'm not going to get into that one. Dub Glock 23. How y'all be? What was your first good knife? Benchmade 531 Pardue. Check out Dub Glock 23. It's another channeler or YouTube dude. It's a badass channel. Do you have any estimates on how much you've spent on knives? Already did that one. You know what? I'm looping around, so I'm actually going to run through these and upload another Q&A video here in a little bit. This is Lugermonger. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. I cannot believe that I have as many subscribers as I do. When I started this YouTube thing, I originally intended my videos to mainly be about guns, honestly, and that's where the name Lugermonger came in, because I've always been a fan of the ballistics of a 9mm Luger cartridge. I didn't quite understand what the word monger actually meant, and so I termed myself Lugermonger. And right when I was getting into YouTube and started realizing how awesome this is, I started piling onto the knives and getting into the knives more and more and more and more, and that's just where my channel went. That's what it became, because that's really where my obsession grew into. They grew together, and I never expected to have the results, well, just the impact, you know, well, not necessarily impact, I don't know what it is, the amount of people that will listen to my bullshit, you know what I mean? It's freaking amazing, and I thank you guys so much for everything you say, all the positive comments, just watching my videos. It's really one of the coolest things, if not the coolest thing that I've got going at all. I really appreciate it, and it's just freaking, still every day blows my mind. I love this shit. I love these things. Y'all have a good one.